Hello and welcome back everyone to another episode of Tournament Reflections in the Gold Coast Open for 2017. We are now up to round number 3, which was played by me on an empty stomach. Now, as you know, my game against Jack Shanks went on for a long time, about 65 moves in the previous round, and because on the weekend they had scrunched up 5 rounds together as well as a presentation, then that would mean that there was not enough rest in between the rounds. So, yeah, I played this game on an empty stomach, and I really needed it to be complete quite quickly so that I could go and get my lunch. The person that I'm playing in this round is Oleg Kitikov. He is an 1800 player from the Queensland area, I think. I'm not 100% sure on where he's from in Australia, but yeah, his name's Oleg Kitikov. He's 1800, and this is how the game started. I was white, and I played knight to f3, and we're going to the same old that I played against a GM Zhao, the Collie system. Knight f3, c5, c3, now d5, d4, e6, e3, knight f6. These moves are all pretty normal. Bishop d3. Now he played knight to f6. So here in this position, I took the opportunity to castle as normal, and he played queen c7. Then I played knight b to d2. Now let's start off stockfish and see what it says here. Okay, so it's plus 0.09 equalizing position, which is the whole aim of the collie, just to stay back and see what he does, and depending on what he does, I'm gonna start my plan of attack. So after knight b to d2, he played c4. Now in the collie system, c4 is a really bad move, and the reason is because you are essentially giving up the advantage and the tension that you have over here with the pawn on c5. So in the collie, the whole aim is to play the pawn forward to e4 when a situation like this happens. But first I have to guard my bishop. I play bishop c2. Now he starts playing b5. Now b5 is not a very good move. In fact, I think that it's an actual mistake, because in the collie system, white has 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders over on the queen side, and black has 1, 2, 3, 4 attackers, which means that any attack that black is trying to do, any type of opening up that black is going to do on the queen side, it's not going to work. So after b5, I played e4, pushing on. Now he played a5, so he's not actually concentrating on the center, which is really detrimental to his position. And in this position, I could not utilize my advantage that I had and play e5. Instead, I played rook to e1. Now let's go back and look at e5. So after e5, you have knight to g7, and the idea is to play knight to g5. Main reason is you're attacking this f7 pawn as well as the h7 pawn. The other idea is that you're going to bring queen f3, queen takes f3, and then knight takes e6. Now notice here that after f6, knight takes e6 is possible, so he's going to get his queen attacked and a loss of a pawn. So he can't necessarily kick my knight away right now. If he plays h6 instead, I play queen to h5, once again attacking the f7 square. Now he has little chance of trying to defend his position. The only move that he kind of has is moving the knight to either d8 or the knight to b6. Now after knight b6, I can play knight takes f7, queen takes f7, and bishop there, and he loses the queen. So the game is pretty much over after I play e4. But in my deprived state of food and the fact that I had a mind blank in this position, and instead I decided to take it safe, which in the color system you can't necessarily do when they start an attack over here on the queen side. But I didn't see any attacks or threats for him, so I decided to do it anyways. So after rook e1, bishop to e7, e takes d5, knight takes d5, and now the position has been slightly advantageous for me, which I think it's okay, but it's much worse than what I had about 2 moves before. So in this position, after move number 11, knight takes d5, I played knight to e4, trying to bring in my pieces into play. As the computer is suggesting, bishop to g5 was an idea that I had, knight to g5 was an idea that I had as well. So knight to e4, and he plays knight to b8. He's now maneuvering his knight around and trying to bring it over here. Now in this position exactly, I should have played this knight over to g5, but what I did play is play knight to e5, which once again the computer is suggesting that it's the second best move, but knight e to g5 was a much better move, and the reason is, once again, f7, h7, and then afterwards you can play this knight to e5, then attack this pawn over here. So all these moves are possible. Knight to e5, what I played, and then knight to d7, f4. Now if he takes my knight, I'm going to take with the f pawn, opening up this f file for my rook. Bishop to b7, queen to g4, g6, he has to save his pawn, and I played knight to g5. Now he plays knight takes e5, and I take with this pawn, f takes e5, queen to d7. I'm not exactly sure about this queen to d7 move, and the reason is because I didn't necessarily see, the whole point behind it. I understand that he wants to try and push f5, but I do have en passant, so I'm not sure what he's trying to do. Now rook to f1, I just played that, and then he played h5. And I play queen g3. My queen doesn't have to move away from this square, and yeah, the position looks all fine for me. No issues or worries going on right now. So after queen to g3, he played bishop takes g5. I did bishop takes g5, and then he played knight to e7, bishop f6, rook to g8, and now I play queen to g5. Main reason is, now if he castles, for instance, this knight's going to be a huge problem. After queen g5, he played knight to f5, and once again in this position I should have played a consolidating move, something like rook a to e1, but I didn't play that, and instead I decided to go for a simple tactic. Just by playing rook f2, I'm going to guard this g2 square, and then afterwards take this knight over here. Now he just played queen to c6, followed by bishop takes f5, bishop takes f5, and now once again I should have played something like queen to h6 and then penetrating the position over here. That was possible and probably the best choice in this position, but now what I played was I just grabbed the pawn and then takes, bishop takes. Now notice, if I did king takes, pawn takes rook, check, and he is up in material, so I have to move the rook away, and he plays bishop to d5. Now you can see that I have completely stuffed up the position from an actual win, and I'm so angry at myself for doing this. From an actual winning position, a +1 position, back to a complete 0. Now we'll just go on with the game and see what happened. I play king f2, centralizing the king, king e7, king e3, rook g to b8. So he's swinging his rook over, meaning that he's trying to open up over here. I just played rook 5 to g1. Now, as I said before, b4 is the correct move to play, and he played exactly that. So after rook g to g1, he played b4, and after b4, I played rook a to b1. Notice how this king over here is stopping the bishop from going over there. But now I have to take drastic measures into my own hand. After rook a6, I played king to d2. Now notice in this position he could play this, but then I'm going to attack his bishop straight away. Now afterwards, if he takes per se, I play king takes instead. So that's not what happened in the game, but it's good to know the ideas behind the position. So after move number 32, king to d2, he plays rook a b6, and I play rook g e1, stopping the bishop from going to there. Next he plays rook 8 to b7. I noticed that there is a square on f8 that I can bring my bishop back through this way and defend the position as well. So I played, after rook 8 to b7, bishop to g7. Now after bishop to g7, he played bishop to e6. He's trying to also bring the bishop in through this way, and I just played rook to e2. Notice that now if this rook moves away, and if he takes, I can do king takes, and this pawn is guarded twice, so the position is going to be all fine. And he played king c6. He's moving forward his king, so I played bishop f8. He played bishop to f5, and I moved my rook away to c1. And then he just played king to d5. So he's thinking that if I move this rook away, he's going to penetrate with the king, which is possible, but I can always play something like rook to f2 and then bring the other rook to e1. Now, after king to d5, I played bishop to f5, disrupting the harmony of the two rooks over here. So he played rook to b5, and then followed by bishop to f8 again, because I didn't want him to sacrifice the exchange on my bishop, because my bishop's the most important piece in this position that's defending the whole position. I've got a bishop, and I've got nearly all my pawns on dark squares, which is what I'm supposed to do. So if I lose the bishop, I have no more bishops guarding those dark squares, and he's just going to grab each of those pawns one by one, while his own pawns are guarded on the light squares. So after bishop to f8, bishop to d3, now rook to f2, as I said before. Now he played b takes c3, and now king takes c3. This pawn is guarded both by the king and by the rook, and the position seems to be all fine. Now he played he played a4 first. Now what I decided to play is rook to e1, as I said before, stopping the king from coming in. And he played bishop to f5, and I played h4 just to see what move he's going to do. If he moves the rook away, then I'm obviously going to bring my bishop into either here or either here now, because in this position his pawns are now broken up. Even though that they're on light squares, I can always take his bishop as well and win these two or these three pawns. So the position is a bit double-edged. He can't make any progress in this position, and that's pretty much the saving grace in this position, that all my pawns are on the correct color squares, and all his pawns are also in the correct color squares, but his bishop is a bit on the outside, if you know what I mean, and it's not having a direct purpose. So after 43 h4, bishop to e6 was played. He just moved around the bishop, and I played bishop to a3. And now he had no moves to play, and he just thought rook to b1. And he played rook to d7, and I played bishop to b4. Now my position is complete. I have blocked him from attacking straight down here. The next move is a3. So king c6, a3. Now he just plays rook over here to d5, attacking my pawn twice. Now I have to defend it twice. Now notice here that if I do something like this, he does rook takes pawn, takes, and then he wins an extra pawn. So I didn't necessarily want to do it that way, and instead I just played rook to f4. And he plays king b5, and in this position I could have played rook to c1, but I just played rook e3. He offered me a draw, and I just took it. Stuff to take home from the game: every time that you play chess, please eat some food before, and don't be like me, just having random mind blanks in the middle of the tournament. Other than that, everything else is good. So this pretty much gave me a good platform to launch my next 3 wins, which allowed me to come equal 4th in the whole tournament. So and 10th place overall, which compared to being seeded number 24th, it's quite a good achievement. So this built up a good platform for me in the next 3 games. So with that being said, if you liked the video, please chuck a like. If you haven't already, subscribe, hit the bell if you want notifications, and comment down below on what you think I should improve on or what you liked about the game. And with that being said, thank you, and I'll see you next time.